Welcome to the part 2 of AWS Amplify video. Here we will continue from where exactly the part 1 ended. So if you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please do so. There are a lot coming through this channel and you are going to have fun learning through this channel. Thanks a lot. Continue watching. The screen and start afresh. Type npm install AWS-amplify @AWS hyphen amplify slash UI React. Let this installation complete. So you done it. This is the hub part done. The plugin is installed. The npm package manager has installed the plugin for us. And now clear the screen and uh, add the auth service to the backend. So we use the amplify command, amplify add auth, and this will add the authentication service. In fact, it is using the AWS Cognito to enable the authentication authorization for our services. Let's go with the default as a choice here, and we validate the user with the username. That's a default choice, so let's take it that as well. And the last option is do you want to configure the advanced settings? No for now, so we can say no, I'm done, and let this process complete. So we have just added the AWS authorization service, the Cognito, basically in our project, the very project that we have done the setup using the React as a front end. So now we have at least one backend service enabled, which is the authorization service, and that is AWS Cognito, by the way. And this is completely working in a serverless backend manner. Now I'm not going to test immediately. Let's finish up with the rest of the services and then we'll test all together. So we'll save effort and size of the video as well. So let's add another service, the API service, which is GraphQL. So we'll use Amplify. Let's clear the screen to avoid any confusion. Amplify add API, and this will help us add the API service. So let's wait for the options to come. So you can see there are two options, GraphQL and the rest. So we select GraphQL, and then we can give a name to our API. Let's call it as a Notes app, and then we can let the authorization be through the API key. If you want to give the description, we can suggest a demo, and if we want to expire this, so this is just a demo, so we don't really care about it right now. And next is do you want to really configure the advanced settings or something? No, we skip and go to the next one, and then we choose no to schema creation, and further to choose the template for guided schema creation. We are not opting this. If it's a single object, yes, and then in fact we should get one more last option, and then we should be fine with this whole stuff. Say yes to this, and then you can go browse this path with your favorite editor, the text editor. I'm going to use VSC or VS Code, Visual Studio Code, to edit that particular path. So minimize this quickly and open your browser and find it out the place where we had the project. So this is our Amplify project, and you will see that the Amplify backend in the Amplify and backend here, and this is the path exactly it is asking us to go and start editing. So this is in the Amplify backend API nodes app schema GraphQL. So API nodes app schema GraphQL. So I can open this here, or I can start the Visual Studio Code, which will browse the entire folder for convenience, because we are going to do multiple of changes in this. So if you have editors like this, which will make really easy for modifications, so you can browse your Amplify in here, which is in my C drive, users, Neeraj, and Amplify app. So I'm going to just browse entire path, the whole folder, and then I'll dive into the specific folder which I want to modify right now. So this is my backend API Notes app. Do I have? Oh yeah, Notes app, and then this is the SQL schema for, sorry, the schema for GraphQL. Let's verify this path. So this is one, right? So we are at the correct place. So let's see if we have the model correctly done. So this is default one, which we are going to make some modifications. So we are going to change this to call it as a node. So the models of the APIs are going to change. So now we call it as a node, and then let keep all this straight, no modification over there. Well, once done, then you can save and close this file, minimize this. We'll go over the command prompt once again and clear this. This time we are going to add the storage service. So we call as amplify add storage. So now you know that how simple and handy the amplify command is to add all the backend services. So I'm just going to add another third one in our uh, 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 thing. So we have a third service where we want to add some kind of content. So let it be the default one. Basically we are going to deal with the images for our dynamic web application. So we select the content, and second option you can take it as is just go with whatever the default is. Don't change anything. You can say if you want to give a unique bucket name, you can say the code school amplify bucket. Hope this is unique. And then you can say auth users only. Next you can select for operations like this. So press the space key this time, and the down arrow key to go to each of them, and then make sure you select all of the CRUD operations support the create, update, read, and delete. And once you are done, then you can press the enter, and here you can say do you want to add lambda trigger for your S3 bucket? And we don't need it because our use case is not going to use that. We are done with adding the storage. So we have added in a row the auth service, the API service, and the storage service finally. So we are done pretty much with the backend services to add. As we have added the storage service as a backend service, that means we are going to store some of the image files. So let's go to the schema and update the schema to support the image file with the API. So API can now accept the schema as well. So let's say image colon string, and this is the better model, the improved model, which will also support the third parameter. So our website is going to send some kind of payload which is the payload will accept the name, description, image, such information in the API. So finally, when you are done with adding the schema, improving the schema, you can save and close. And then the last part which we are going to do, which we have not done it for a single service, is to update this service to inside the AWS Amplify console. So I'm just going to say amplify push hyphen hyphen y. This will make all the local changes that we have done so far to sync with the Amplify console in AWS. This is bit time consuming process, so I'm just pausing the video. Once done, I'll resume the video. This is done here. The backend, whatever we had, API, auth, and storage, all of three services are synced up well with the Amplify console in the AWS services. Let's make some final changes in React.js application files to adapt to the services that we have added. So I'm going to change a few of the files one by one. All these files are there in my GitHub repository. You can see the links in the description right now. Take our IDE here, and I'm going to just change the dependencies in a package.json. So I have in my local the package.json file, which I'm going to replace for this. If you look at here, it's a package.json. So I'm just going to replace with the one that I have already. So in this, I'll just tell you briefly what is additional. So a couple of libraries which is not there, and we have to do the npm install for all of them. So I'm saving the time for you. Otherwise, you can just pick and choose whatever missing and install it. So I'm just going to cut it short and make it worth of the time. So close this. Second file I'm going to change is index.js. So open up, and from my local I'm just going to replace it. Again, I'll explain you what's the change. So here, if you see the AWS Amplify and config the AWS exports, is a file which is always created when you initialize the Amplify backend things, and it will keep updating itself. This is stored in a src folder of the React project. So this is kind of commanding the whole backend stuff here. So we are going to initialize this and save this file. Next file to update is just close this and open up app.js. So this is the file. I'm going to change it. This is very basic website which was showing the logo of the React and nothing else was there. So we are going to change it, update it with the more powerful services like all backend calls, uh, which is more of like a REST service to backend over the GraphQL APIs. So let me explain you what is there. So I have basically the HTML descriptions, which is going to hold the different input components like name of the note, the description about the note, image file that we want to upload, and finally the button which will have some kind of action to collect this information and send it to backend. We'll see the backend calls in a second. This is to fetch the data from the GraphQL API and display them into the divs. So to see the button action on click, there is a create note which takes the data as a note name and the description plus the file, and sends it back to the backend, which is our serverless backend API, GraphQL API, to store the data, and it uses the DynamoDB to store all this information inside. And whenever asked, like when you say get me the data so that I can display, it's going to take those information through the fetch nodes. This is how the fetch node call will be called to the backend GraphQL API, and it will bring up the information. It will hit the API, the nodes API, and it will also hit the storage, which is nothing but our S3 bucket to get those image which is related to this specific node. And once it gets the data, it will set the nodes into here to display, sorry, here to display. And we register one button for each of the row that is saved to call the delete nodes on click of that button. And that delete node is going to make another call to GraphQL API for giving the ID of this node to delete this. And sooner this is done, it will reflect the same information into the web page. So this is the more important stuff. And next file I want you to change is app CSS. So to make a little bit better look and feel, just few of the additional things has been added to this CSS file. I'll explain again. For table related colors and displays, some of the headers, some logo change. These are the basic modification has been done to make the styling look better. Let's run the application locally in from the project file to see that everything is fine before we test it into the server. So we say npm start and wait for the things to build and start. We should eventually see the browser launching, and here we go. Application should launch and load. Waiting for the web page to load. Hope everything that we did goes well. Here you go. So we have the web application launched and rendered well. Now this is asking for the registration if I don't have the account. So far this is our first attempt to launch with the Cognito, and there is nothing, there is no user available. And remember, we have chosen the username to log in with in our configuration of the auth while we were installing it. So let's say I don't have account, so I want to create an account. So it will turn to the create account mode, which is the registration process, and then I say my username should be neeraj and some password, and let me give some email ID and some contact number and say create. Once I click on create, some verification code will be sent to the email ID that I have mentioned. So let me grab the email ID verification code and put it in here and then click on confirm. So let me put it here and say confirm. I click on a confirm button. If I'm a valid user, then I should see the internal application interface, and with the sign out mechanism, right? So this all are provided by the Cognito. Let's test the application if it works. So I say football as my first note, and I say attend football class at 4 p.m. today, and then I have a choice to add some photo or image. So I have selected the image and click on create note, and then sooner I am clicking there, I see the information like note name and details of the note and what date the note is created with an image. So I can keep going and adding some of the more information. I can say music, and I want to say what it is about. So this note is about to practice the piano at 6 p.m. today, and add some of the files and say create note, and this will add the another note in my note app for the piano. So you see these things are vertically going to keep adding and adding, and this is the application which we created using the different services which makes it serverless backend by AWS Amplify. This application is working well in a local, so let's push our code. Let's stop it first, and then we'll add everything to Git now and test it in our server if everything is working fine. So we say git add, we have done. So we say git commit -am and say fully developed notes app, and then we say git push. Let's wait for, yeah, so this asks for the user ID and password. Okay, and we can go to our Amplify, see the apps, and see the changes that is happening. So just now I have pushed the code and the provision of the things started. That means it started copying the code. And if you see this is bringing the code change from whatever the code we have committed. So you can find it out the commit number and match it with the branch, so that way you can trace it. Now jump to the build process. It's cloned the repository, so next is front-end build, which I want to see it here once it reacts. And now we have build console logs from the front end, so let's have a look. It is going to just okay, so there are some problems here. So this build has failed because of AWS exports are not there inside the SRC folder. So let's go and verify why that didn't get checked in, or yeah, so that's the problem. So this file didn't get committed. It was not added. In fact, I'm not sure what was the reason. So probably it was a git ignore or something. So let's make sure that we specifically add that folder. So add that file basically. So it is in SRC. So let's go over there, or we can say git add AWS or SRC slash AWS configure AWS exports.js, and once you add them, yes, so if you want to add them you have to apply the F -F flag, and this is going to take this time, I guess. Status, yep. So then we say git commit -m, and this is AWS exports.js file, add it, git push. Let's wait for the authentication. with this password, should be able to add it. And once done, this should be the quick, and we switch to the AWS CLI again. So we go to this process, and we'll see the process is started again automatically. So this is what the automated CI/CD, which is taken care by Amplify. And the provision is again in process. That means it's pulling out the code from Git, and then we wait for the build and deploy and verify to complete to test it. That was the only problem with the build process last time, so hopefully there shouldn't be anything else now. So let's wait for the build script to complete. Let's look at front-end build again, because we have to monitor if anything goes wrong. So far so good, we don't have any surprises. Hope this is well and green. So everything worked, the process is completed, all of the stages are green. So let's launch this application. I'm going to use my user ID, which is already registered with this, and give a password that I have created. So this user does not exist. That means I need to create an account with them. Just say I want to say Neeraj Kumar and password, some password with the user ID, user email like this. And let's see if it creates yes. So I'll grab my verification code, which I'm supposed to get it here if things are fine. Yes. So let me take this code and paste it. Confirm. Should land up inside the application dashboard. Yes. And now the time to have a little bit of testing here. So football classes, and we say go to football class at 4 p.m. daily. Choose some reminder image so that it can visually be reminding you, and give some another one, say music is fun, play piano now on Sunday. So Sunday, and then you get some image and add it. So this is what we saw as a learning objective, and we have achieved this. So hope you have find fun time going through the video, and you found some value and learning through this small project that I have built on AWS Amplify. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share these things with your friends, colleagues, and different folks. Hope to see you with another video in a couple of days. Thanks a lot. Stay safe.